One of the most common questions people have when trying to decide where to live is about schools. People want to know, what are the schools like? Where are the top and best schools? Today, we're going to take a look at some unbiased sources to figure out the top school districts in the San Antonio area. So stay tuned. If we haven't met yet, I'm Denise Ross, Realtor with Keller Williams City View here in San Antonio, Texas. I love helping people make San Antonio their home, and I would love to hear from you. I'm getting calls, texts, and emails from all across the country and even internationally from people looking to move and relocate here, and it is so great. Feel free to contact me with any questions about the area in general or to get the moving process started. If this is your first time to my channel, please subscribe and hit the bell so you're notified every week when I post a new video. Okay, now about the schools. Even if you don't have kids or they're well past graduation, your local school district's quality can make or break your property values. I'm going to be talking about the top school districts in the San Antonio area, including public schools, charter schools, and private schools, according to niche.com and their various rankings. There are numerous resources that you can use when researching schools besides niche.com, including texasschools.gov, greatschools.org, and by going to the school district's website individually. One thing to keep in mind when looking at the various sources for information about schools and their rankings is sometimes the information can be a little bit outdated, particularly since the pandemic. texasschools.gov information is based on the standardized testing, which was suspended in the pandemic, and so there hasn't been any new data to update that information on that site. So that's just something to keep in mind if you're going to use it as a resource, and that's one of the reasons why I didn't use it as a basis for my video today. I'm going to go through the traditional public schools first, and then a handful of charter and private schools, since it's a little bit difficult to compare the different types. So according to niche.com, the #1 school district in the San Antonio area is Alamo Heights Independent School District. This school district, of course, is located in Alamo Heights, which is just a couple miles north of downtown San Antonio. In the top 5% of school districts nationally and one of the top in Texas. The student-teacher ratio is 14:1, and the district spends over $18,000 per student, and it shows. The college-bound student rate for this district is over 94%. It earns an overall grade of an A+ and is rated in the top 12% of districts with the best teachers and best places to teach in Texas. And according to the district's website, extracurricular activities are regularly ranked in the top 10% in all of Texas. Moving on, Fort Sam Houston Independent School District, which is located on the Fort Sam Houston Army installation. It has a student-teacher ratio of 11:1 and also spends over $18,000 per student. It has an overall A+ rating and is ranked as number 5 on the best places to teach in all of Texas, and also made the top list of the districts with the best teachers. Now on to Boerne Independent School Districts, which is located in Boerne, Texas, which is just northwest of San Antonio out I-10. This district boasts a student-teacher ratio of 16:1 and spends over $15,000 annually per student. It has an overall A rating and was ranked in the top 5% for the best districts and top 10% for the best districts for athletes in all of Texas. Now, Randolph Independent School District is located in northeast San Antonio at, you guessed it, Randolph Air Force Base. They spend over $17,000 per student, have a student-teacher ratio of 14:1, and some impressive rankings as number 19 on the best places to teach in Texas and number 34 on the best school districts in Texas with an overall A rating. Lackland Independent School District is located in the southwestern part of the city at Lackland Air Force Base. Its student-teacher ratio is 12:1 and it spends over $15,000 per student. It too has an impressive A rating and is in the top 5% of best school districts in Texas and the top 6% of best districts to teach in Texas. Located just north of San Antonio city limits on the north and northeast side in the hill country is the Comal Independent School District. This highly rated district has a student-teacher ratio of 16:1 and spends over $12,000 annually per student. It's in the top 10% of the best districts in Texas and the top 20% for both the best district for athletes and the districts with the best teachers. Niche gives Comal ISD an overall A grade. Medina Valley Independent School District is located southwest of San Antonio in the small community of Castroville. This district has a student-teacher ratio of 16:1 and spends nearly $17,000 per student. It's recognized with an overall A rating and in the top 5% of districts with the best teachers, top 10% for top school districts, and top 15% for best schools for athletes. Back over on the northeast side of San Antonio, over in the Schertz area, is the Schertz-Cibolo Universal City Independent School District, which might be the longest name of a school district ever. It has a student-teacher ratio of 16:1 and spends $11,000 annually per student. To its credit, this school district was ranked in the top 2% of the best districts for athletes and in the top 10% for both the best districts in Texas and the most diverse districts in Texas. Niche gives it an overall A grade. Northeast Independent School District is located in the northeastern and north part of San Antonio, and it's one of the largest districts on the list with over 64,000 students. NEISD spends over $11,000 per student and has a student-teacher ratio of 15:1, which is impressive for such a large district. It's recognized with an overall A rating and in the top 10% of both the best districts in Texas and the most diverse districts in Texas, and the top 12% of the best districts for athletes. Moving on to Northside Independent School District, which is on the north and northwestern cusp of San Antonio and is the largest district on the list with over 100,000 students. It also has a student-teacher ratio of 15:1, which again is impressive for the size of the district, and spends $11,000 per student. This district has an overall A- rating from Niche and is in the top 15% of most diverse school districts in Texas, the top 20% for best school districts in Texas, and the top 25% for the best districts for athletes. If you're interested in charter schools, I'm going to touch on a couple of those that were rated very highly, higher than some of the school districts I just mentioned. It's kind of hard to compare the two types of schools, and you have to apply for admission and be accepted to attend a charter school, so I decided to keep those separate. Basis Charter Schools have several campuses around San Antonio, and it has a student-teacher ratio of 18:1 and spends approximately $8,200 per student. This district was also impressively recognized as being in the top 2% of districts with the best teachers and the best districts in Texas. And according to the district's website, over 90% of the students are AP scholars of some level. Niche gives it an overall grade of A+. Great Hearts also has several campuses throughout San Antonio, has a student-teacher ratio of 24:1, and spends just under $8,000 per student. It's in the top 15% for best districts in Texas and the top 25% for districts with the best teachers. Niche gives it an overall grade of an A-. And if you're considering private schools, the following schools all had A+ ratings by Niche. Private schools are not rated on texasschools.gov or greatschools.org sites. These schools were Keystone, St. Mary's Hall, TMI, and San Antonio Christian. If you have a question or an idea about a future video, please leave it in the comments below, or better yet, shoot me a text, an email, or a phone call. I'd love to hear from you. If you found this information valuable, I'd appreciate it if you'd give a thumbs up on this video, and if you liked this video, you will want to check out this one next. Thanks so much for watching.